Hello and welcome back to GSI. I'm Lucas and this is Wargame Red Dragon. We're back in our 2 vs 2 tournament and this is game 1 of oh fucking hell, they didn't provide the team names. Oh well, they did. Of Team FIRCE against Team Kaprom. Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, Team Kaprom playing the blue team here. They are starting with American Airborne and South African unspecified. Sounds about right. Let's see how this turns out. We're playing on Bloody Ridge, a map that characters that in a 2 vs 2 match offers a lot of different opportunities to push. Again, since the other team know what they are going to face, they will find a way to prepare against these blue forces. In the red corner, we do have Team FIRCE, and they are playing French unspecified and Norward Moto, so American, Canadian, and French units. We are going to see here. Creed seems to be playing French, and Husky actually seems to be playing Norwich. As I've said before, they know that they are facing off an American Airborne player, which is probably why they are deploying the dubs here to fade off an eventually imminent airborne landing in the small town between India and Echo. That being said, of course, the blue team could also attempt to push Charlie with an airborne landing. Always quite a spectacle to view. We do have, well, not that lot of units. We do also have some airborne units from the red team, albeit they do have better helos. The Pumas in the Pirate and the Panther version, they are, in my opinion, way better suited for air landing than the Blackhawks. Let's look at what the blue team is building up here. They do have some anti-air helos. They do have 2 DAPs and 2 OH-58C-S, 2 of them. They do have a Super Cobra, which is, if I'm not mistaken, equipped with some seed rockets. They do also have 2 scout helos. All of this just to cover two squads of 2 helos each. Let's see how this will go. It appears just from the pings they made on the map, the Tusky actually and Rennie will face off in the town between Echo and India. It does appear that Rennie and Zero will both go into Foxtrot. Probably Rennie is trying to push in there with his fast South African units, most notably the Logam heavy tank right here. That's a piece of art. On the red team, they are starting with an superiority fighter, possibly to scout any airborne landings from the blue team. And so let's switch to their point of view. And they managed to scout the airborne landing attempt. Surprisingly, this is not headed into the town, is it? Okay. Let's just have a quick attempt to get an overview. We do have, yeah, all the usual forces. Small air landing here by Husky actually in attempt here in the town with Canadian forces. All of this is pretty usually. The 4 dabs provide a lot of nice cover. The red team seems to be going, at least seems to be attempting to go into golf with this airborne landing. The Panther with probably Milans. The Pirate with, well, it's left to be seen what's in there. And we do have 2 Tigre Hub, which also carry Mistrals to shoot down any enemy helos. The red team is playing 2 CVs, one of which apparently missed their designated zone. This CV, I think what you would like to do is either put it in Charlie or in Bravo. Nevertheless, let's try to get a peek view, a peek glimpse on what is happening here with the airborne landing. Okay, so the two Blackhawks that were trying to go for the town were killed by the red Dubs. Some light riflemen were landed into Foxtrot, but honestly, I don't know why you even would want to do this. So if you just compare this, the light riflemen to the Humvees are almost identically as fast in this forest as the light riflemen, so there's no real advantage from doing an airborne landing here. At the same time, we do have, what are you, Navy SEALs and Canadian Airborne facing off here in the city, together with an Allied great unit and some Highlanders. Otherwise, not that much going for Team Blue here. I think they probably would have needed those light riflemen from the Blackhawks. Yeah, nevertheless, no really expensive units here on either side, and I feel Navy SEALs with the grenade launchers do have a slight advantage over the red units. However, they're clearly outnumbered here with a lot of support units, and the grenade launcher leaves them very vulnerable for any other units such as the Genooks here, the transport bisons, and all other stuff here. Mid seems like your very usual setup for Team Blue, going in here with a heavy tank, with some fast tanks which are still very passively played here. The light riflemen here to give them some ATGM capabilities, not the greatest though. I think the most interesting thing for us to have a look at right now is the left side here, where the Tigers and the Panthers are unleashing their firepower. The Legions and the Milan have been landed here securely. Interestingly, base Legion, not Legion 90, so they are more focused on fighting against enemy infantry. Right now, they're moving the Panthers and the Pirates to the low game, and I feel like if the Pirates would get close enough with their 2 PB gun, they could do some significant damage to the low game. They seem to be landing behind the house now. Okay, they're empty. There's no infantry in there that could actually hurt the Logim. Logim is panicked though from all the rockets from the Panthers. 2 Panthers still alive here, and the infantry fight is going on strong with more Legions, not Legion 90 this time, being deployed in the city, and a fast recon tank, the AMX-10, moving here to fight off any... Oh no, he's trying to move into the base, I think. Interesting move. So, in the middle, the Logim has been killed by the pirates, or by the Pirates, however you want to pronounce this, and they are trying to mop up anything that's left here. However, they are encountered by this one lonely, brave Stinger C, which has 2 shots left, together with the Humvees, to take down the last Puma pirate, and succeeds in doing so. So, just to sum it up, airborne landing on the right side, probably more in favor of the red team, which now took over the entire city and are now fighting against the blue team's backline. The blue team is trying to deploy some fire units here, some flamethrowers here, but I assume that those flamethrowers were meant to be deployed in the city, where blue now can't land safely anymore whatsoever. Team Blue, however, managed to conquer most of middle, but right now they lack the incentive. They would have the initiative, sorry, not the incentive. Right now they would be able to just push through here, through Foxtrot, through Delta, into Bravo, into the base. No red units there whatsoever. They also could just push here from Foxtrot into Charlie, kill the CV. There are no red units here covering anything here, besides from the CV and the Panther Helo. The rocket, however, would be greatly suited for any fast-moving jobs such as this, but I do understand from the blue team's perspective that they could be quite overwhelmed here right now with the situation on the left and the right flank. Now, the AMX-10 is moving here into the base. Maybe they... it could be pretty close. They could, if they get unlucky, be discovered by the Caspian K car. Let's watch from the blue team's perspective whether they actually discover it and then react to it. They probably could just send the chopper over to the right side. And there it is. Caspian also opens fire immediately. Royback is being pinged. And Royback takes off to fight off the AMX-10, so probably a situation. Is he actually taking off to fight the AMX-10? Yes, he is. Okay. AMX-10 puts it in backwards gear, attempts to evade the rocket without any chance of success. So, right now in the middle, the rockets, any advantage that he might have established in the past is now completely gone, with a full swarm of red units pushing in here together with the Tigre and the Panther Hilo attempting to establish a foothold here for red team. Deagle now moving in on the newly deployed infantry from Team Blue. Rocket here not being able to counter either of these planes. Nighthawk here, great plane to demolish, to absolutely destroy the Light Rifleman and the Black Hawks that were just landed here. So right now, well, the red team has conquered both 2 pointers, enabling them a strong +4 tick here and helped them in gaining an early lead here. Okay, the Tigre is probably about to be shut down by the Avenger. Yes, it is. And it feels like the red team now has the advantage on the ground here as well. They are bringing in more expensive units and also units that are probably slightly better suited for the job here at the front in Foxtrot. The blue team is now sending their empty helos to fight in Golf. Could work out pretty well since red team does not have any anti-air units here, and they also bought a little bird. Oh, you usually don't see these little healers here hovering just above the ground in this tree. Okay, the little bird, which is equipped with twin grenade launchers, should be able to fight off any of these infantries if they manage to scout the infantries without the infantry being able to shoot the healers down. At the same time, just seems like a bit of bad luck for the blue team. Red team moved in a Kotal, which still has 3 missiles left. And the Panther with more Milans. Yeah, they're reinforcing here heavily. So now a Nighthawk for Team Blue is appearing here. Both teams are buying more CVs now. Blue is going for a 2-pointer as well. Red team is securing Delta for a very quick and brief +5 tick. Nighthawk seems to be set on manual evacuation. No, this could be quite a problem since the Nighthawk takes a hit here and will be gone for a longer time to repair. Nevertheless, the Kotal lost one more anti-air rocket, which now in theory at least would enable Team Blue to make aggressive use of their choppers, given that none of these are particularly strong. Okay, so the blue Kilo sector is now being captured. Nighthawk moving in here again for the Light Rifleman, and that's some precision bombing right here. No, the Vulcans going in here. Interesting choice of vehicles. That's a very fun unit. ADAT's moving here in the front, and to be frank, I don't expect anything else to happen here. The Cheetah is now moving in with their bombs, which are also laser guided bombs, somewhat similar to, if I'm not mistaken, are they? I think yeah, they are. Doesn't drop any bombs whatsoever. And the blue team's helos get absolutely demolished by the autocannons on these cheap French transports. Any new attempt to bring in troops here for the blue team also finds a hard stop at the end of these Panthers rockets. So right now, just ping in here, probably from the red team to push into Foxtrot, into the small forest. Interesting. But as Team Blue is close to have ticked all the way through, not even 10 minutes after the start of the game, I feel like we can confidently put this into fast move and just watch the rest of the match unfold. Seagull in here. Okay, yeah, that's the match. A very clear win of game number 1 for Team FIRCE. You can see it at the conquest points, you can also see it at kills and losses. This was a very, very one-sided match. And I do hope that Rennie and Zero MX5 find a way to turn things around in the favor in game number 2. You know what? I think this is too short for a video. Let's go to game number 2 right now here instead. And we're back. Game number 2 again. Team Kaprom against Team FIRCE. Same players again for both teams. We do have in Team 1 Team Kaprom, 0 MX5, or is it MXS? I don't know. And Rennie against Team number 2, the victors of last game, Crete and Husky Actual. So, Rennie is, or Team Kaprom is playing in the blue corner right now. They chose to go with I think that's Scandi Unspec and Israel motorized? Mechanized? It's probably mechanized. There's a lot of Zeldas in here. Yeah, something like this. And we're playing on Highway to Seoul, which not only has 3 different fronts that the players will have to cover for them, but also this huge backyard here, which enables a lot of flanking opportunities, both into Charlie and Golf, but also into the enemy home base. Talking about the enemy, team number 2, which after their victory in the last game and are a bit restricted in the choice of decks, choose actually to play a red deck as well. So Team FIRCE with Crete and Husky actually are playing Poland Unspec and Entente Motorized. Interesting choice of decks, especially since Poland Unspec. Is this Poland Unspec? Or maybe is this red? Red and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in a second. Okay. Both teams choose 1 fob for the red team and 2 fobs again for the blue team. Last match we saw the blue team did have a slight advantage in their openers. Maybe these 75 points that a fob will set you back in the opener was what broke their back. So let's hope that they have a better game plan here than last game. Let me just quickly plug in the power cable for my headphones. And we should be good to go. So let's play count the CV. I see 1 CV, 2 CVs for the blue team. Always a bit dangerous to send a Hilo CV all the way to Foxtrot, given that red could also start with a cheap Hilo hunting plane to just take it down or at least scout the location. Red team has 1 CV, 2 CVs, no big surprises here. Also starting in the Hilos, and they also just from the start of game play with base defense. Now, as I've said before, here comes the Hilo hunter. They chose a cheap, again Polish, so it's probably Poland Unspec plane equipped with 4 fire and forget missiles, which could work quite well against any enemy helos. That being said, this MiG is a bit fast, maybe a bit too fast to be efficient against enemy helos. Okay, we do have we do have a couple of recolorless rifles moving in here. Some infantry being deployed, 103D, and a Stutzwagen 121, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like a slightly more developed version of the Leopard 2. An automatic also being deployed here, and let's just have a quick view. It does seem like Rennie is taking complete control of Golf and Charlie, with his teammate being sent off to Echo and Delta. For the red team, it does seem that Creed is himself involved in the right side, with Husky actually, attempting to take Golf. So no team has a clear advantage in numbers, in manpower here yet so far. Interestingly enough, Zero MXS decides to play without any heavy tanks. In Delta, it's not crucially necessary, but at least medium tanks would help him here somewhat. I mean, given that he's playing Israel mechanized, he probably would be able to play some base Merkava, I think even Merkava 2A or something like this. Early bomber going in here, automatic, manages to get a quick few hits, but not enough to stop the plane from going back. Base defense deployed here from the red team probably was a good idea, given that the blue team is already trying to infiltrate here. The scout defender is probably here in an attempt to deny any red sneaking attempts. The Bell with Marinejägers, I assume, is probably trying to get in here and scout Alpha. So now first contact here, and blue, which have started here with quite more tanks, with the automatics, with all the Schrittwagen. I feel like they do have somewhat of an advantage. The Snezkas moving back here, and Anton motorized is not necessarily the best option. You have to fight off heavy tanks. Super Galeb coming in here now. This is exactly what they need. Manages only one hit on the Stritzwagen, which means that he will stay alive. Big problem for the red team. Talking about problems, blue team just bought 2 more CVs, so they will be attempting to take an early lead. Seed does not manage to take out the automatic, as it was microed ever so quickly. However, they do lose one Horvat here in the middle. Neva is placed here very defensively, and it's probably to the red team's advantage, since the Falschgemjäger are able to move up here quite a bit. Nothing too interesting happening here. The Snezkas here now, which are probably invisible to the Stritzwagen, doing some quick shots. The autocannons moving up, but at this point, oh, bombs coming in, big HE value bombs against the red infantry, doing some damage, but I feel like this is a bit of overkill, since all these units here probably would have been more than enough to fight off any remaining red forces in this forest here. So, blue is moving up. Still, there is this very small concentrated pocket of red resistance here. Red is now also buying ACV, and they're sending some healers up here in front. Marinejäger being deployed, and the Bell is moving out. I don't think there's anything in here that could spot it for the red team, so the Marinejäger probably will be able to infiltrate without being noticed. Interesting enough to see that these 2 houses, which are usually used to deploy any ATGM units to deny the open area for enemy tanks, only the red team put any ATGM units in here. Blue team stuck with Givati, which are storm infantry. I think they're okay, but Given that Israel has so many strong ATGM units, the Dorban come to mind. Probably the Dorbans in here would have enabled them to, for example, take on this moderately heavy tank, the T-72 M2 Wilk. 120 points, probably the heaviest tank that we will see in this game at least. So, Blue managed to sneak into CV's here, enabling them an early +2 tick, and oh, now the bell which was used to deploy the Marinejäger moves up forward here, so at least at this point the red team could sense that maybe something is going on there. We don't see any pings or anything like it. Probably they didn't notice. Probably. Also interesting to see the CV that they've bought for Charlie is now being rerouted to Delta. They probably felt that Charlie was too insecure with the Fallschirmjägers moving up and all the shit going on. Seed going in here. The MiG-29 with the HE napalm bombs going in here as well for the Panzerskite. No, for the Fallschirmjäger. Do the bombs hit the target? Yes, they do. Seed is being hit, Seed is being shot down, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think the MiG-29 was also shot down. Talking about planes going down, the double Prachka and Neva take care of the F-16. Now red team is moving into the open, possibly exposing themselves to any flanking maneuvers going on here by the red team. And now we also have players, at least some units from Crete, also being deployed in here with the helos in an attempt to do some damage and to stop the blue offensive. Automatic taking care of this, albeit the tank will have to struggle in these flames. Super Gallop coming in again, and before we take a look at this, let's just quickly catch up on what's happening on the left side. The T-55 is doing quite some damage to the Djibouti, which are attempting to push this house. Akku right now looks to be turning entirely in Team Blue's favor. A bit surprising to see for me, since they don't have anything really here to take care of tanks apart from this HVMS. Surely not a bad unit in itself, but a medium-sized tank or some ATGMs here on the left flank would have enabled them to quickly deal with anything like the T-55, the Sokals, and so on and so on. Also maybe a Machbet or a Hovet, which are placed here very, very defensively, would work wonders against the Mi-24. In the middle happening right now. Similar situation, not a lot of expensive units, the shot car being the only tank here on the blue side. Probably absolutely not enough to deal with the M2 Wilk. Also, they're only one supply truck away from absolutely blown to pieces by the Concours, which are out of ammo at this point. None of this, however, will suffice against the T-72, against not if Red manages to keep the distance from the Chayetet with their 21 PB and the Djibouti with their 70 PB, but they will have to take a lot of hits against the T-72 to take any significant damage from these infantries. So again, no ATGMs here. The Dorban moved up to the south, which could be quite helpful against anything attacking from here, and they do have a slight line of sight down here, so if the T-72 moves up enough, this could be quite devastating for them. Okay, Super Gallop moving up here, probably going against a Stritzwagen, which just became invisible. Beautiful. So, manpads are working. Oh, the Stritzwagen 121 is still up in the open. It's still scouted. It still hasn't been repaired, and it's taken down by the Super Gallop. Piece of beauty here. Automatic trying to shoot out and managing to score quite a few hits, but none of this is enough to avenge the death of the 121. And this is the second more expensive tank that the blue team has lost here. They're now buying more infantry, more autocannons, and this doesn't have to be too bad. But I feel like they do have such a big advantage with the tanks over the red team, and now they are at least exposing themselves to losing all of them just by, let me say, risky maneuvers. MiG-29 finally taken down by the automatic. Automatic also not taking any damage, however, here from the bombs. Strutzwagen gets killed by the Mi-17. This is a huge loss for the blue team. However, as long as the automatic is still in place with more ammunition, the Mi-17 don't live a long and happy life. Automatic again being bombed by the MiG-29. Now it's not microed to attack. What a shame, and it does take some damage. However, I think blue has lost so many units here right now that any further offensive should be quite unviable for them. Happening now in the middle, slight offensive from Team Blue, which are now pushing up to the red CV. And oh fuck, did I miss to show the death of the tank? It does seem that the Dorban shot at least 3 or 4 of their rockets, so probably the tank died somewhere here. A major feat for the blue team. Now they managed to scout the red CV. The Givati are in striking distance, so the shot got the lead, and killing the CV right now would only further increase the +2 tick that the blue team already has over the red team to a +3 tick. Or would it? I don't know. MiG-29 moving in again. Automatic with 15 shots left. It's panicked, so don't expect any nice hits from the automatic at this point. Panzers get a nice target for the MiG-29, which comes out with some damages, but nonetheless comes out. Concourse being refueled. CV, red CV in the middle being taken down. A lot of new action going on here. Meanwhile, Echo, blue's push has been denied by the red team, which is now moving up with some infantry fighting vehicles, which blue can't really fight off anyway because they lack the anti-tank, anti-vehicle capabilities. Nonetheless, Echo is still being held down by the blue CV, together with middle also in blue. Call it in blue enabled the blue team to establish a +2 tick. So Team FIRCE is aggressively pinging these spikes, which just took out the infantry fighting vehicle, which would indicate that a bomber or some artillery or something similar would be on its way to take care of the Dorbans. Now aggressively moving up the scout, which is not really a fighting vehicle. More infantry being brought in here, probably more Givatis. Okay, I'll have to admit the spikes apparently were sufficient enough to take care of the infantry fighting vehicle in Echo. So now with the Shaitet being brought in here, they do have a somewhat decent range and accuracy of 70% against enemy vehicles, albeit only 21 PB, which is a very low anti-vehicle value. At the same time, let's have a quick overview of the players and where they are being involved. Zero is still with his Israeli forces in Delta and Echo. It doesn't seem like he is involved on the right side. No, he isn't. So the blue team managed to stick to their original plan. Let's see how this is looking for the red team. Also, Crete still being focused on Echo and Delta, with only a very few supporting units from Husky Actual, sorry, moving in to support here at Delta. Now some mortars coming in, all of this, but this does seem like a bit of a problem for the red team. Blue already established a 160 point lead over them, and now they're buying scouts. Some medium tanks moving in here, some rather cheap helos with rocket pods. Blue bought another tank here. This is good, I think. Automatic has been replenished somewhat with a bit of ammunition, which is desperately needed as their only real anti-air unit here. Speaking of which, there comes another bomber, probably attempting to bully these Fallschirmjägers here. Valuable target, automatic is in place, manpad is on the move, so it won't... Oh, it does fire very well, okay, and bomber goes down. Fallschirmjägers take a hit, only a small one. Yeah, so far nice setup for the blue team. They are risking their vehicles standing there in a straight on the line of sight of the drugs, and moving in with your infantry loaded still in the transports is also a very risky move, at least against Proletary 90, which are famously known for their anti-vehicle capabilities. Okay, so Marinejägers are in the base right now. Zero makes some marks, makes some pings, probably to guide Rennie and his Marinejägers here through the forest in an attempt to scout red units. Red at this point in time, they do have some base defense, which stands not really perfectly to discover the Marinejäger. Red also has one fob and a Plamen piece of artillery. I feel like the CV all the way over here could be quite a way away from being discovered by the Marinejäger. Nevertheless, let's watch and see. Team Red is buying another CV, presumably for Echo, where they now brought the tank, which again, Team Blue can't put up anything really against it. So now Team Blue is being bullied here out of the sector. The Jaguar doing a lot of damages, and it seems like Team Red might have noticed that there is something fishy going on near their base with a Mi-35 heading in the direction of the Marinejäger. Not being able to discover them, probably they are trying to sneak around themselves and do some damage in the enemy base in Hotel. Maybe also to counter the Doher, which has just been bought by the blue team. MiG-29 operating again here, taking some hits again, and it finally goes down. This was the second MiG-29, so hopefully for the blue team, they've dealt with this problem once and for all. Plum going in here against the automatic. Probably a bit of bad timing. They probably attempted to stun the automatic during the time the MiG-29 was moving in here. Otherwise, the right side looks still remarkably well for the blue team. They are building up forces here to move in the flanks of Charlie. They do have the advantage in number of guns, in number of men. They do have a tank here, which the red team does not have any really efficient way to fight off. Speaking of tanks, there is an ATGM vehicle firing at the Wilk, and the Super Gallop is probably attempting to kill the Giraffe, and it does so in a last minute attempt. The Gripen doesn't follow through, probably a wise choice, given that the Neva is still lurking here for any visitors from Team Blue. And no, finally, after quite a lot of time has passed, Red deploys their CV here in Echo, reducing Team Blue's tick to a mere +1, but a +1 nevertheless, which will become a very real problem for the red team sooner or later, with almost 20 minutes left to play. Well, blue team has built themselves quite a nice lead with 280 points, and at this point I don't really see red taking back middle anytime soon. Nimrod being deployed in Echo. Talk about some anti-vehicle capabilities. No, also the Machbet moving in here. All of this is nice. The spikes, again, very nice. Very, very nice. The Maglan, very nice. But I feel like what the blue team would need here is a tank. And it's as simple as that. Even a medium tank, which they do get, playing mechanized in Echo, would do wonders. Shaitan moving in here across the field to push into this forest, probably going to be intercepted by the Zokor, which does a lot of damage while these rocket pods are very deadly. Shaitan down to 1 squad. Maybe push up the whole vet a bit. Okay, Aski actually on the offense here. The plowman is in place to do some stun damage. Dorbans are being pinged again. And yeah, this ping right now, he is probably 0, telling his teammate, fuck, I need some help. They are pushing, but he should be doing just fine. Amos placed here nicely. The Brandobranchi, of course, are somewhat of a problem. Together with the Proletari, 4 squads of Proletari, yeah, they could cause quite some headaches, together with the 3 squads remaining here in the middle. All of this could become quite a problem for the blue team. They are outnumbered infantry-wise right now, so they will have to rely on fire support, maybe some bombing runs to diminish these numbers of infantry. Happening now in, well, in a maybe 1 or 2 minutes, the Mi-35 will finally arrive at the blue team's base to take care of the Doher, I think, and they pinged something here. Did anything die here? I don't know. So we will tune back to the Mi-35 in a couple of seconds. 0 is directing Rennie to finally push up the Marinejägers, which are now spotting the first FOB. They now spot the planes moving in here, and they also spotted ZSU, which means that right now blue team could start firing on the FOB, drastically decreasing the amount of supply that is available to the red team. Griepen takes a huge hit from the Neva. Maybe, the Neva is out of ammunition, which calls for a very big lucky day for the Griepen. Now going back to the base, Mi-35 goes in, spots the FOB. Let's see what else they can spot. Doher is in cover immediately, opens the fire with the machine gun, and the Mi-35 spots the CV, which is immediately eliminated. Interesting move to turn off the rockets, probably to enable faster firing, and the blue base is absolutely diminished. Doher and the CV are both taken out, only supply units remaining here, which is a nice feast for the Mi-35, which is just running out of fuel. Blue team immediately buys a new CV, but the blue tick is stopped. Big problem for the blue team, since they can't call in any air units for now. Any planes would have to spawn here over hotel. So now I think the blue team is buying the automatic and the Anafa to fight off the Mi-35 and to reconquer hotel. I think. I don't know. Oh, this is a cheesy move. The red team just bought a CV. They bought a CV, it's in the chopper, and now it's a race to the finish line. The red team will try to bring the Mi-17 with the CV all the way across here to evade any air defense units, all the way across here into hotel. To capture hotel and being able to spawn new units here. And this could work out very, very well if they manage to get in here faster than the blue team manages to get their CV in, which is still waiting around here in Foxtrot defensively. I'm sure they don't want to risk the Anafa being shot down by the Mi-35, which is now unleashing its mighty rockets against the supply trucks. Okay, I mean, yeah, sure thing. Feel free to do so. Automatic closing in. Scout Defender also moving in. And the Anafa getting a move on as well. This could become the turning point of this very game. With 18 minutes left to play, the blue tick being stopped at an advantage of 322 points. Shit, I imagine that the blue team is worried quite a bit now. Also, notably, they've lost this building here to 30 Commandozis, which also denies them this AP anti-vehicle capability. It probably won't hurt them that much since they still control this huge chunk of Delta. Nevertheless, probably a scout here, 1 or 2, would not hurt them. So, Automatic takes care of the Mi-35 in mere seconds. Also the Cefa with their Stinger rockets moving in here to kill the Mi-35. Anafa coming in here just at the right point in time. And what a lot of people tend to forget is the FOBs. That team right now could, in a bit of a cheesy move, turn off the supply, but they don't do it. FOBs are being recaptured and the Anafa is unloaded. Let's look at the Mi-17 and they immediately realize that this quest has failed, moving back to their base, not risking their valuable CV. Red team seems to be focusing on Echo right now. Maglan and Givati being marked. Blue team setting some marks in here. Now the mortar is taking on these infantry pieces. 2 mortars against Maglan is always a bit of a problem since Maglan only has a 5-man squad. 5-man squad strength. Shit. Marinejäger moving a bit again. And now the ZSU is spotted. Which means, if you're not too familiar with Wargame, if you look at some units, for example, the CV right here, it's in cover, it has not been discovered by the enemy, so the label of this unit is blinking. If you look at the ZSU, their labels are not blinking anymore, even though they are being placed in cover, which indicates that they have been spotted. If our team is watching closely right now, they could detect the presence of an enemy scout just this way. Nevertheless, what is happening here? They are in an attempt to bring in the CV into the middle sector. Helo action. Machbet way too defensively here in the back, so all these rocket pods can do a lot of damage. Jaguar tanks moving in here and here, probably, yes, he does deal with the Hovette. Quite a big problem for the blue team. All the units in here have been eradicated within seconds. Now the Machbet come into play, but also too little and too late, only exposing themselves to the Jaguars and their mighty firepower here. Jaguar, equipped with an HE4 cannon, absolutely smokes away the Chayetet here, which just don't have sufficient anti-vehicle capabilities to deal with him. CV moving in here now, possibly to be intercepted by the Chayetet. They are spotted probably by the Red Scouts over here, giving them a last minute chance to save their CV. So, middle is not looking too good right now for the blue team, even though they are still ticking in points. There's also an offensive happening here on the right side. Nicely placed smoke covering the T-55 from the STRF's autocannons. Not anymore. Their high AP auto cannons absolutely demolish the tank placed in here. Now a cheap tank offensive in the making here. Oh shit, this only can get funny. Maglan being selected as the next targets for the mortars. Also 2-man Maglan spots are very vulnerable for any kind of HE firepower. Only the mortars now are being countered themselves by the blue teams. Did they buy another door here? Oh, they bought the beacon. They bought the beacon, which will enable them to deal out lots of HE damages. One more to that. The second one panicked. Now they're taking on the Commandosi. Some medium tanks coming in here now from Rennie, who is for the first time helping out his colleague, even though right now he's also having problems of his own here. Albeit 3 automatics here, if managed correctly, if protected from enemy seats, probably would be able to hold down this front entirely on their own. And now with the beacon, they can do huge damages to any red units not moving immediately after being discovered. The Plamen here is immediately counterfired upon, but is also moving away. Super Gallop coming in here probably to fight against the Stritz. Yeah, against the support vehicles. Automatic, dealing out some damages. Successfully shooting down the Super Gallop. And our team is preparing their, I'm not going to call this a tank, their heat. Shit trucks rush. Whatever this is. So 12 PB to HE. Heat bullets, which means they do at least 1 HE damage on any range that they're shooting against, so they could shoot at max range against these automatics, for example, and 12 shots of these would be able to demolish the automatics rather quickly. There's a small breach here in the right flank by the red team. Specialniks and Proletari moving across here. They will be intercepted by the Fallschirmjägers. But the red team is getting ballsy. They are about to place down a CV into Golf, which they will need to do at this point in time. 11 minutes remaining, and the blue team is in a almost 400 points lead. So the red team will have to place down more than just this one CV to recover themselves. They already placed a CV in Delta. They do have a CV in Echo, which has been sitting there idly for quite some while now. But this small 1 point tick for the red team for the remaining 11 minutes won't be enough to turn tides in their favor. Scout tanks working now here in the middle, shooting at the Jivati, not being scouted yet by the blue team. They can't really shoot at them. Yeah, what else is there to say right now? The left side would be an easy grab for the blue team. Not many units here for the red team defending. In fact, only the CV and the scout are remaining in the vicinity of the sector. Also no red ATGMs located here in this house. I feel if blue realizes this right now, of course there are reinforcements rolling in, but the blue team is moving up here, possibly also the Jivati to discover the CV. Maybe. Let's wait and see for this. On the right side, the flanking attempt is being intercepted by the Fallschirmjägers and a lot of support fires from the Amos and from the Beacon. Is it one Beacon still? Yes, it's one Beacon still. Also being moved quite frequently to protect the Beacon from counterfire. Amos will need some new ammunition. So the Marinejäger. Right now they have all they need. They would just need to move in the Marinejäger, spot the Plamen, move the Marinejäger back, and then have the Beacon take care of the Plamen. It could work so very well, but well, let's wait and see how this will turn out. T-55 Dina tanks being bought now from the red team. Not the best tanks, but also quite capable of doing some damages. And now finally, oh, is Seed taking out the anti-air very nicely. I feel like they were hoping to find a CV here at this point without any success. At the same time, red units arriving in Echo, able to deal with the Maglans faster than the Maglan is able to deal any real damages to them. To be noted, the Maglan is only visible because the scouts are being placed here. On the right side happening right now, the cheap shitboxes with the heat guns are moving up. The Fallschirmjägers are only able to dealing so much damages at once, but together with the automatic, which is unleashing its mighty firepower, these tanks are getting smoked up quite fast. 2 more automatics. This is an absolute feast. Padobranchi also moving up here, but I think... Oh, the Amos is still not being replenished. Supply sitting idly behind here. But at least the Bekan is able to do some damage against the Padobranchi. And against all the other units sitting here. Marinejäger still not moving, so... Yeah. Maybe they're getting the move on now. Let's wait and see what the Bekan is doing. Kurnas is flying around the map. Probably in an attempt to kill ACV, kill the Plamen, something like this. It's a risky move, but let's wait and see how this turns out. For the Commandosi, now going down in the middle here. Again, the Machbet are very defensively placed, completely unable to do anything against the Hind, at least before he does significant damage to the Jivati. Another bomb coming in, this time for the Commandosi. Now red air, anti-air units so far to prevent this from happening. On the left side, well, this sector turned very quickly from being absolutely dictated here by the blue team. Red team managed to mop this up rather efficient, and I feel like now the red team would have the opportunity to, in the last minutes of the game, maybe do a risky move and push in an attempt to discover the CV. There is not that much for them to lose. Right now they're buying a CV for golf, and did the Marinejäger? Yes! The Marinejäger finally got into action. Bekan starting to unleash its firepower on an empty forest. Kurnas also shooting at the Plum position, I think. Okay. Well, at least Marinejäger have been finally eliminated, found and eliminated by the red team. That team lost... No, they didn't lose the Plum! They did not lose the Plum. The Plum moved out safely on its way to Charlie here in time, so... Probably no big loss for the red team. It's a pity. Cluster bomber moving in here on the right side. The Wigan. That's a beautiful plane, one of my favorites. Probably against the 3-stack of the T-55 Dina. But again, the Fallschirmjägers from the right side and the automatics from the left side will probably demolish them rather efficient. One of them goes down, bombs hit, second goes down, and one lonely Dina left here only to be dealt with by the automatic and the Fallschirmjäger in a second. I think this was the Wigan that has been shot down. Yeah, it does look like the Wigan a bit. Red by some superiority fighters. Plamen going into place. CV is ready to be placed here as soon as the red team establishes a foothold in here, but to be frank, I don't really see this happening anytime soon, and red team needs to act fast with only 4 minutes left to go. A rather expensive tank here placed in the middle, doing some damage. I feel like if Renny and Zero would team up with the Stutzwagen and the Shotkarl and move up, they probably would be able to take this down, but they don't have any need whatsoever to be aggressive right now. They have such a comfortable lead in the points. Blue ASF being counted by the 2 L18. MLU doesn't really go in. Where's the Machbet? The Machbet is here. MLU is down. 1 L18 dies. Go on, 3 mach bets. Yeah, second L18 also dies. Aside from this, blue team builds some forces here, probably enough to protect the CV for the remainder of this game. I'm quite amazed by the situation in the middle. The blue team has eyes on most of this. They have the Jivati, they have the tanks. What they don't have is scouts. But if they had, they would see that the CV is not in this forest, not here, also not in this small line of trees. So it either has to be here or here in this forest on the right side. Given that they do have a beacon and a doher at their disposal, they right now could attempt to kill the CV. But again, they don't have the need for any aggressive moves so far. Jaguar moving onwards here on the left side. Safer being killed by the romp. Nothing too special here. Oh, and this could be exciting. There's a shitbox convoy with some heat trucks and 2 Humvees full of Maglan moving down here. Maybe to the enemy base. Maybe to intercept the Plamen. It's worrying me quite a bit. I mean, with the difference in terrain height, I don't expect the scout vehicle to scout the CV here, but it's a shame that they're just going past it without finding it. The Mi-17 will be able to deal with all of them, but won't have enough ammunition to do any real damages. So the E-trucks go up here, maybe to kill the Plamen. The Humvee will be intercepted here by the ZSU and the T-55. These heat trucks here maybe will attempt to go up to Bravo, but this is rather unsuccessful. The Humvee here gets demolished. Drawing some friendly fire on the Topaz, but no real success here either way. And the blue team, it would be so easy for them to just push this forest. There's nothing left in here by the red team now. Maybe the scout defenders can discover the CV here. Now finally, after some time of waiting, the spikes are being moved into this house. 1 minute left to go, and I think you won't feel too angry if I just fast forward a bit here. I don't expect any major moves. Now a similar push by the red team, some bombers here in action trying to go for the CV, but nothing major happens. And this is the game. No, second game in this setup between the two teams, and blue team takes away the win in quite a manner. So now neither team has an advantage. Both teams won a game, which means that there will be a third game between Team FIRCE and Team Kaprom, as Team Kaprom takes the win and a huge lead in kills versus losses compared to the red team. This is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to this special of Game 1 and Game 2, and we will upload the coverage of Game 3, the final game between these two teams, in a very short manner of time. So if you don't want to miss out, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, take care and goodbye.